What's up guys, Brian here from Audio Geek, and I'm back yet again with another cool review for you guys. Today we are looking at a brand that I haven't had here before. So last week there arrived a few goodies from a company named CCA, and I'm actually very stoked to have some product of theirs. They're quite geared to the budget market, but also against musicians. So they sent me over this CCA Xyraa, and apparently this is a very good IEM for gaming and also for music. So it's going to be very nice to check this out. I can already tell you guys it's a hybrid configuration. Now for the price, I've worked it out. The South African price is like 272 Rand, which is nothing for an IEM. I think it's about $16-17 if you take it to the dollars. So if this is going to be good for gaming and it's going to be good for music at that price, I think it's going to be a steal. So the package took very quickly to arrive, I have to say. This was like, it was 4 days and then it landed at me. Obviously the company sent it to me directly, but I think if you buy through AliExpress or their website, it will not take longer than 2 weeks. The company representative was a star to work with, so nice. So I'm looking forward to reviewing some more of their monitors in the future as well. So without further ado, let's unbox this little thing and see what's going on inside here with this CCA Xyraa. I like the name, by the way, Xyraa. It has a nice ring to it. So yeah, let's check out the unboxing. So if we check out the unboxing, this came in a very small box. It's a little bit broader than a normal cigarette box, so the packaging is quite nice and small. And also it's in consideration to the price. You cannot expect a big Christmas shoe box if you're just paying like $16 for an IEM. So we've got the box on the front here, two very nice pictures of the IEMs themselves. I see it comes in two colors. You get the titanium black and the lunar silver. I see they sent my one in titanium black. I like titanium black. It's a very nice color. Yeah, the box just slides open. Not going to show you too much of the IEMs now. That will come in the look and build. So it's a small little box, slide out box. It's a little plastic that we uplift here. Obviously, like I said, we are getting the two IEMs. If we lift that up, there's a little box here. See, this opens up like this. You've got a little thingy here which takes your monitors. At the bottom here I see one pair of tips, and then also there's another box here. I think if we take this out, this is going to be our cable. We just open these packs. Yes, I hate these little white things. Yeah, so what we got here is your little cable. I'm not going to say too much about this now. So we've got our cable, we've got our tips, and we have our monitor. So it's a pretty standard setup. I don't see any carrying case though, unless I missed something here in this small box. No, there's no carry. Okay, so there's no carrying case with this one, guys. So yeah, pretty straightforward unboxing, and I think we can go a bit deeper and check out the look and build. So if we take a look at the eggshells themselves, guys, this is actually very beautiful. Just hope I can get a nice zoom in here for you guys. It's basically resin at the back, and you can see that big nice 10mm driver sticking out there. So it's basically resin at the back. The nozzles are metal. I like that. And then also the face plates look like a metal face plate, and it's this nice it's a titanium black, so it does look like black, but it's got a lot of a piano type of a finish. So they call it titanium black, and to me it looks like a very nice piano black as well. So they're very light. It's the resin. Resin's always lighter than an all metal shell. I have to say the design also looks very economical. Um, the way it's going to fit in your ears. I am going to do a test fit here. So I'm actually very happy at this price. This build is actually quite exquisite, guys. If we move on to the cable, this is nothing to write home about. Uh, it's a normal cable you get with budget IEMs. It's plastic connectors. There's no braiding. Actually, what I've found that in South Africa, the braided cables, especially the cheaper ones, they go hard. They go very, very hard for some reason. I don't know if it's our climate or what, but after about 3 months of use, and I've monitored a lot of IEMs, then the cables turn hard. This one is non-braided, and I don't know if this will maybe last a bit longer. I'll obviously be able to tell you in a couple of months if that is indeed the case. But as you can see, it's a non-braided cable. It's got the connectors. I've got the one which is the mic version, so there's a nice mic on here if you want to, because this is a gaming IEM first and foremost. I think the mic comes in handy if you're playing online games and you're replacing your headset with this set. Yeah, so then there is no, like I said, there is no carrying case, but I mean at this price I'm not going to complain. A carrying case is like 20 Rand, like $1-2 on Ali. So if you buy this, just grab a nice little carrying case with for the price. I think I haven't heard how this sounds yet, but for the price, I mean $16, you can really afford to just add a nice carrying case to your cart there when you book this out. So yeah, the tips are the normal silicone tips. They look like narrowboard tips. Obviously I think these are gonna and I can understand why they're doing it. It's because of the base for the gaming. You need nice base for the explosions and stuff. So yeah, that's it for the look and build, guys, and I think we can check out the connectivity now. So if we check out the connectivity, I got the 3.5 millimeter one. And that's really easy. It makes it so easy to connect everywhere. Unless you have a cell phone that doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter out, I'm going to suggest, I had a look at the specs which I'm going to do next, so I think these are going to drive easy. If you don't have a 3.5 on your cell phone, you can just get one of these dongles. I won't even take one of my bigger dongles, just a normal dongle like this, an Apple dongle, or Venture Electronics makes very nice dongles. I like using these. I actually think this is a Venture. Yeah, I see SV Clan on here, so it is a Venture Electronics one. This. I would use that if you don't have the 3.5 millimeter. Otherwise, if you've got the 3.5, I still got one on my Samsung. I've also got the 3.5 on my Oppo. So for me it's real easy. You can also hook this up to your tablet, your laptop, your PC, a little one of these DAC amps, one of these, you can hook it up to your DAP. So I mean the possibilities is endless with the 3.5. There's no 4.4 millimeter version. I'll get to that in the specs. So this is just going to be 3.5. Otherwise, if you want a bit more extra power, you're just going to need to add an extra cable. And I don't really like the cable on this one. So I think if this sounds really, really well, and it's good for gaming, as I do play Call of Duty mobile. So I think if I decide I like the sound of this, then I'll just add an aftermarket cable, maybe a nice black one that's gonna fit here. So yeah, that's it for the connectivity, guys, and I think we can just check out the specs. So if we check out the specs on this CCA Xyraa, like I said in the beginning at the introduction, this is a hybrid, and it's actually quite for me it's not rare, but it's something else getting a hybrid setup, getting two drivers at this price, because normally you just find one dynamic driver, and this unit packs one 10 millimeter dynamic driver, and then also a nice BA. They say on the packaging it's with the latest BA, it's this 30118 BA that's on your BA is obviously going to be for the treble. So we're going to check out the treble on this thing because it's got the I see a latest BA driver. Pin diameter it's going to be your normal 0.75 millimeter 2-pin. The frequency response range here I see is it's 20 hertz to 40,000 kilohertz. I doubt that 40,000 makes any sense to me because you know, when you're getting old your hearing goes down. I think I can hear up to 17. I did a hearing test the other day. I think my ears hears up to 17,000 hertz. So I think there in the 40,000, 38,000 kilohertz race, that's just ambience and a little bit of sparkle and stuff on top. Something that you maybe can't hear, but what you can still perceive, if I may say that. The impedance is going to be very, very easy to drive. It's 27 ohms, so any cell phone can drive this. The sensitivity, also to do with how easy it is to drive, it's 110 dBs, and I mean that is really easy to drive, so you're not going to have a problem here. Overall, I'm very, very happy with the specs, guys. Now I'm going to listen to this for a week, and I'm going to do some gaming with it, and then we will see if this Xyraa lives up to its name as a gaming monitor. So yeah, stay tuned. And I am back with my overall sound impressions on the CCA Xyraa, and I have to say I've been listening to for about two and a half weeks now, so I didn't take the usual week. I spent quite a bit of time with it. If I was one of those reviewers that likes to sugarcoat things and only look at the positive things, I will call these energetic. But luckily I'm not one of those reviewers, and I only give my honest opinion. So I'm going to tell you guys right from the start, right off the bat, these things are bright. Okay, the overall sound signature, I can use that word then, it's energetic, it's lively, but on the positive side, it's engaging, you know, it engages you. It's definitely not what we call a safe V-shape tuning. It's a very, very energetic V-shape, and I think they clearly went for some excitement here, CCA, when they did the tuning on this one. If I have to compare it to something I've heard before, I have to say my very, very first Indian monitor, and this is how I got into the hobby, was the KZZSN Pro, and those things were bright, but it also had nice bass, and that was my introduction into Chi-Fi actually. So these sound a lot, I'm getting a lot of those vibes there. You do get elevated bass as well. The thing about the mids is that especially the lower mids, I found them to be slightly recessed. The treble, like I said, sparkly. You might perceive it as there's a lot of detail retrieval, but it's actually just the highs being boosted so much. However, the highs being boosted, it still sounds very clean. Those are clean highs, you know. The trade-offs, I think, with this tuning is that obviously those upper frequencies, those highs, they can become fatiguing, especially for long listening sessions. And I also found myself, because it is very efficient, if you look at the specs, it's a very efficient earphone, and with a bit of a treble that has a bit of a bite, once you turn the volume up too much, it quickly hurts your ears, eh? So you must watch out for hearing damage with this one. But also on the other hand, if you're a guy that likes energetic V-shaped tuning, this is very, very cheap for the price. It does sound better than its price tag, I can assure you that. It does work for me. It works up well with rock music. I've used it for some gaming, modern music like pop. I did not enjoy it for EDM music. I've seen a few reviews on these, and I personally do not recommend them, because what happened to me in EDM music is the moment there's a song that's got a bit of highs in, and it's got bass and highs, and you want to turn the music up. Before you even hear the bass, the treble is up there, so you start hurting your ears if there's highly treble tracks, and you turning it louder to hear the bass, if you guys know what I'm saying. Speaking about the bass, it's definitely one of the highlights for me, especially the sub-bass extension. I've reviewed so many in-ear monitors now over the past time where there's not a lot of sub-bass, and all it's like the regular tuning these days is give that thing mid bass punch and let's totally forget sub bass rumble. That is my personal experience. So it was actually quite nice to hear sub bass extension here on the Xyraa. It's very impressive. There's good rumble, there's solid impact, and there's a lot enough of that bass energy, to keep the prat going. You guys all know what prat means. It's your bass rhythm and attack. There's enough of that going around. The mid bass has a decent punch, and some texture without it becoming overly bloated. I did sense some bloatedness, but it wasn't overly bloated. I mean, at the price, you can't expect a perfect bass at this price. Yeah, I would say the bass here is more a thing of quantity over quality, if you know what I mean. Still, to me, it was fun. It was powerful. It's not the tightest, it's not the most technical bass I've ever heard, but the response was still there. For casual listening and enjoyment, it works very well. Importantly, the bass doesn't completely destroy the mids. I was listening especially because the bass is booted for some bleeds into the mids. Here and there, occasionally, I found a little bit of bleed, but it didn't impact the mids for me overall. If we look at the mids, like I said, they're slightly reset, especially the lower mids. The vocals sit a little bit behind, and that's what a V-shape is. The bass sits there, the treble sits there, and the vocal sits a little bit more recessed. The female vocals being more upper mids, they stood out a bit more than the male vocals. The male vocals, just occasionally, they sounded a bit thin. Where the female vocals impressed me, the male, not at all. Especially with the guitars and the snare drums, things like that, string instruments, sounded much better than the vocals to me on this set. Yeah, the main issue here, and I see I wrote it down here in my notes, it's that the upper mids, they become a bit chaotic, especially if there's busy tracks that you're listening. But overall, for a V-shape budget set, the mids are honestly, it handled much better than I expected. If it comes to the high, and now this is where the Xyraa becomes very, very interesting. They are bright, they sparkly, airy, surprisingly detailed for the price. Like I said, you get this, you perceive it as very good detailed retrieval. It's like an immediate sense of clarity, but it's all perceived. It's not really there. It's because the eyes are boosted. But however, and this is also a negative, sensitive, treble sensitive guys, please, this is not the set for you guys. You must be careful here. At moderate levels, the treble sounds lively and also engaging, but at higher levels, it became very, very sharp. There was sibilance, and it also did become a bit fatiguing. So you can't use it for very long times if you're going to use it at loud levels, guys. Poorly recorded tracks as well. If you can feed it a nice source, like I hooked it up to a few of my dabs, and then it does improve a little bit. But if you've got a poor source, like just a cell phone and a poorly recorded track, this is going to sound like a bunch of cats holding a little bizarre, while the treble performance, we can call it immersive technically for the price, but it's definitely not a relaxed tuning. If we get into the technicalities, you see the frequency response, and if you're looking at the graph, the Xyraa follows a very classic V-shaped tuning. There's a notable bass shelf with elevated sub-bass and also some mid-bass presence, followed by some slightly recessed lower mids. Not so much in the upper mids, it's more in the lower mids, and then it rises again through the upper order. This explains why the Xyraa sounds so energetic and exciting, rather than neutral or warm, which a lot of people prefer. The boosted bass does gives it a bit of a warmth, and if the bass wasn't there, these things would be totally off the charts, too bright, all of that. So the bass is like almost like an equalizer here. It's not a reference tuning by any means, but I say it's intentionally designed for on-the-go listening fun. Maybe you can empty your cell phone, watch a few, stuff like that. The timbre is decent here, but it's not perfect, but you have to take into account it is a budget hybrid in-ear monitor. The BA integration with the dynamic driver, it's handled reasonably well. Some cheap hybrids sound metallic, and it's also artificially sounding, like, violin. You can clearly hear it's not a violin anymore. Piano notes sounds a bit hollow. If you've been a reviewer for a while, and if you've been listening intensely to music, you can kind of distinguish between those things. The Xyraa luckily avoids most of that, but there is a bit of fakeness in the sound, if I can call it that. Still, there are moments though where the instruments and vocals, I don't know, that they just sounded a bit sharp at times. You used to a song sounding a different a way, and then all of a sudden you hear it on a Xyraa, and then it sounds a bit harsh. So now we know, this is it's a bit synthetic, especially if you get into violins. I did mention violins now, but I see I wrote it down here again. Violin cymbals and also high female vocals, they sometimes they lose a bit of that naturalness. So while the timbre is acceptable for the price, I will not say that it is the strongest selling point here on the Xyraa. For detail retrieval, like I said, it's impressive. With the treble boost, it gives this a very, very nice way of how it's retrieving the data. Some subtle details, like background effects and reverbs and footsteps, especially in games. The footsteps were very, very cool. You can hear them all around you. The micro details is not a flagship level, guys, but I mean, $420, this will perform above average there for me. With all that said, and that perceived detail, it does come from the brighter tuning itself, more than the resolving capabilities of the in-ear monitor. If we have to look at the imaging and also the instrument separation, it's actually one of the stronger points here. Potential cues that I found, it was in gaming, especially directional, first-person shooter. I try some Call of Duty with it, as I have Call of Duty Mobile. I actually play on my computer, not on my cell phone. So I was playing it, and I had it hooked up here to my M-Audio DAC over here. And I have to say, thanks to the brighter presentation and those energetic upper mids, those footsteps and those things, they came out very clearly. And also on busy tracks, the instruments remain distinguishably, instead of collapsing like completely into each other. You can't make out where's the drummer, where's this. You can actually with these. Extreme complex stages, no, it becomes congested. I'm not expecting anything more of it at this price. The sound stage is very moderate. I'm not going to say this has a wide sound stage. No, not at all. The width is decent. It's not massive. Let me say it's decent. The depth is also average. The presentation is more forward and in your face, rather than it's this big sound coming at you. It's rather that straight and it's in your face. Still, for gaming, casual listening, I think this is perfectly usable, and it's not claustrophobic at all. So to conclude this review of mine on the CCA Xyraa, guys, overall for me, it's a fun, energetic, bright, surprisingly capable budget hybrid Indian monitor. It's not perfect at all. I'm gonna score it a 3.5 out of 5, and the reason for that is, guys, I hate the cable. I have the Xyraas here in my ear now, but it's not with the original Xyraa cable. I have to show you guys this. It's been with me here now, and this cable is completely hard. I mean, even the parts that go around your ear, it just stays like that. Look, that bent over there. It's completely hard. It's nonsense. If you're a person that likes cables to be soft, please don't buy this cable. I'm throwing away. I'm not even gonna look at it anymore. It's going straight into the dumpster. I do, however, have it hooked up here to a cable from Linem Cables, and I will be reviewing these soon, because I actually discovered a bunch of them in one of the crates I keep all my my cables and stuff in, and I forgot completely that I have them. So I think I've got about 3 or 4 of them from this company. It's a company from Denmark, and I'm going to be doing a review on these cables. So if you can look past the cable, this makes perfectly sense. If you're a cable person and you don't have a lot of money and don't have money to buy another cable, then you might going to be disappointed. And the reason why I also say that is that the Xyraa is not the only one I have that has this type of cable. I bought these myself. I didn't get these in for review. They're these purple and blue thing. It almost looks like the same shell. It must be KZ or some sub KZ brand. Now guys, if I can show you like this how hard this is, these things are not bending, they are completely hard. These cables are nonsense. I would rather prefer paying a bit more, and getting a better cable. But if we get that, which is the biggest negative part for me of this whole earphone, is the cable. So now that we got that out of the way, if you enjoy V-shape tunings with plenty of excitement, and sparkle, this is definitely worth checking out, guys. Especially if you want to buy like a little all-rounder and you don't have a lot of money, you want to buy an all-rounder for your gaming and for your everyday stuff and your casual music listening, then this makes perfectly sense. The guys that want some more smoother and neutral presentation, there's probably better options, and I can definitely recommend the CCA Phoenix, and that review is also going to be coming up soon. But there are other ones in the CCA range, because they cater for a bit of different music tastes and needs, which you can check out. But for fun factor, I think this Xyraa delivers. So that's going to be my conclusion, guys. Thank you for watching, and